Losing my husband was the hardest thing I've ever faced. He was my best friend, my partner in every sense of the word, and the person I had planned to grow old with. His death wasn't just the loss of a person, it was the loss of a future, a life we had built together, and the dreams we had shared. The grief was overwhelming, and while I tried my best to hold myself together, it felt like the world was crumbling around me. But little did I know, the worst was yet to come. Please subscribe to our channel and help us to reach 1,000 subscribers. Please help us by giving us a subscribe. We had built a modest but beautiful life together, including the house we had poured years of love and care into. Every corner of it held memories. Our first Christmas as a married couple, late-night conversations by the fireplace, even the garden we had planted together. That house wasn't just property. It was the heart of our shared life, a place where his presence still lingered, even after he was gone. Enter my sister-in-law, Karen. She had always been outspoken and opinionated, but after my husband's death, her behavior became something else entirely. At first, she pretended to be supportive, offering to help me manage things, dropping by unannounced to check on me. I thought her concern was genuine, and though her visits often felt intrusive, I didn't have the energy to push her away. Grief can make you vulnerable, and I was too drained to question her intentions. But Karen wasn't there to help, she was there to take. It started with little comments, casual remarks that hinted at something deeper. "This house has always felt more like our family's than yours," she said one afternoon, her tone light but her meaning unmistakable. "You know, my parents used to dream of living in a place like this." I brushed it off, chalking it up to her typical self-importance. After all, Karen had a tendency to make everything about herself. Then, one day, she escalated. I came home from work to find her in the living room, sorting through papers. My papers. "What are you doing?" I asked, my voice sharp as I crossed the room to confront her. "Please subscribe to our channel and help us to reach 1,000 subscribers. Please, help us." "Oh, just organizing things," she replied smoothly, not bothering to look up. "You know, this place really shouldn't be yours anymore. It's part of the family estate." "Family estate?" I froze, staring at her in disbelief. "Karen," I said carefully, "this house was my husband's and mine. We bought it together. It's mine." She smirked, her tone shifting from casual to condescending. "Actually, that's not true. Legally, it belongs to the family. And now that he's gone, it should be passed down to me." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She wasn't just insinuating that the house wasn't mine. She was outright claiming it as her own. I tried to argue, to explain that it was rightfully mine, but she was relentless. "You don't belong here anymore," she said coldly. "You should start packing your things." Karen didn't stop at words. Within weeks, she began threatening legal action, claiming she had rights to the property through some convoluted interpretation of inheritance laws. She showed up with documents she claimed supported her case, and while I tried to fight back, the stress of grief and her constant interference became too much to handle. Eventually, I had no choice but to leave the house, the home I had built with my husband, while she moved in like a queen claiming her throne. The humiliation was unbearable. Karen hadn't just taken my house. She had stolen a piece of my life, a part of my soul. But as painful as it was, I wasn't about to let her win. I may have left, but I wasn't defeated. Not by a long shot. What happened next is where the story truly takes a turn. Let me know when you're ready for Section 2, because what I did to reclaim what was mine left everyone stunned, including Karen herself. You won't believe how it all played out. Walking away from my home, the home I had built with my husband, was one of the hardest things I'd ever done. But as I stepped over the threshold for what I thought would be the last time, I made myself a promise. This wasn't the end. Karen might have forced me out. She might have gloated as she claimed what wasn't hers, but I wasn't going to let her win. What Karen didn't know, what she underestimated, was that grief doesn't make you weak. It makes you fight harder, and that's exactly what I planned to do. In the weeks that followed, I threw myself into preparing for a battle. I knew this wouldn't be easy. Karen wasn't just entitled, she was manipulative. She had already convinced herself and anyone who would listen that the house was hers by some obscure family inheritance logic. But the facts were on my side. The deed had my name on it, and my lawyer confirmed that Karen's claim was baseless. Still, winning legally wouldn't be enough. I needed to do this in a way that would leave no doubt. Karen had to learn what happens when you try to take what isn't yours. Please subscribe to our channel and help us to reach 1,000 subscribers. Please help us by giving us a subscribe. The first step was securing my legal case. I hired an exceptional lawyer who specialized in property disputes. Together, we gathered every possible piece of documentation proving my ownership: the title deed, the mortgage paperwork, even emails between my husband and me during the home buying process. All of it painted a clear picture. The house belonged to me, and Karen had no claim to it. My lawyer also suggested filing for damages, given the emotional and financial toll her actions had taken on me. I agreed without hesitation. If Karen wanted to play dirty, she'd learn I could fight back twice as hard. But while the legal process was unfolding, I had another idea, something Karen wouldn't see coming. If she wanted to take over my life, then I would take control of hers, in a way she'd never forget. Karen had been living in my house as though it were her personal palace, hosting dinner parties and inviting friends over as though she owned the place. Word of her antics reached me through mutual friends and neighbors, many of whom were appalled by her behavior but felt powerless to stop it. So, I decided to turn her spotlight against her. I started reaching out to people in the neighborhood, people Karen had tried to win over with her charm and false claims. I told them the truth about what had happened, showing them the legal documents that proved my ownership. Slowly, the narrative began to shift. The community that had once politely humored Karen's lies started to see her for what she really was: a bully and an opportunist. Then came the day of the court hearing. Karen walked in with a confidence that bordered on arrogance, clutching a handful of flimsy documents she thought would back up her case. But as my lawyer presented the overwhelming evidence in my favor, her composure began to crumble. The judge didn't take long to deliver a verdict. The house was mine, and Karen was to vacate the property immediately. Additionally, she was ordered to pay damages for the distress she had caused me. But I wasn't done yet. Instead of simply waiting for Karen to leave, I decided to make my return a statement. On the day she was evicted, I showed up at the house with a group of friends who had supported me throughout the ordeal. Together, we held a small homecoming celebration right there on the front lawn. Neighbors gathered, many of them cheering as Karen was escorted out by the authorities. She tried to maintain her dignity, but it was clear she hadn't anticipated the public humiliation. She left in a flurry of angry muttering, her head down and her confidence shattered. Reclaiming my home was just the beginning. Once I was back inside, I set about restoring it, not just physically, but emotionally. Every corner of that house had been touched by Karen's toxic presence, and I wanted to reclaim it as a space of love, peace, and resilience. I repainted walls, brought in new furniture, and rearranged the garden my husband and I had planted together. It was hard work, but with every brushstroke and every new addition, I felt a sense of healing. This house wasn't just a reminder of what I'd lost, it was a testament to what I'd fought for. Please subscribe to our channel and help us to reach 1,000 subscribers. Please help us by giving us a subscribe. Months later, I hosted a housewarming party to celebrate my victory. Friends, neighbors, and even a few family members came, filling the space with laughter and warmth. As I stood in the living room looking around at the people who had supported me, I felt a sense of closure I hadn't thought possible. Karen's betrayal had been painful, but it had also revealed my strength, my resilience, and my ability to fight for what mattered most. As for Karen, her life took a very different turn. With her reputation in tatters and her finances drained from the court-ordered damages, she retreated from the community she had once tried to dominate. While I didn't take pleasure in her downfall, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction knowing that she had reaped what she'd sown. Her attempt to take what wasn't hers had backfired spectacularly, and she would think twice before pulling a stunt like that again. My home, my life, and my peace were finally mine again. And every time I walk through that front door, I'm reminded of one simple truth: no one, Not even someone as brazen and entitled as Karen can take away what you've built if you have the courage to stand up and fight for it.